Radio Network.
Okay, folks, we are now into hour number 2, continuing with your calls. The last caller I talked to raised the point that we need in New Hampshire to have poll watchers, because last time in at least 4 of the 10 counties, Ron Paul overwhelmingly won, according to the exit polls, but then overwhelmingly lost, and there was a lot of reports of fraud. So the caller was saying, why not create a database where people opt into it and register on record that they did this so we can show the fraud this time? Then some people say, well, you're showing a mixed message. If there's election fraud, why then should we be involved in elections? To show there's fraud? To have our issues injected into the debate? I mean, that's the main reason. We can't just give up. We have to keep engaging. There's not fraud in every county, but there is in more than about 40% of the nation. That's why government doesn't care. That's why they're so arrogant. I was watching PSYOP films that were classified in the 60s but released in the last decade, and it was all about when a U.S.-backed nation occupies and has martial law, they need to be respectful and get the people on their side and actually try to help them, or they'll lose. But see, they don't care anymore. They want you to know you're a piece of garbage. They want to demoralize you. They know Congress has a 9% approval rating. And so they're like, okay, you know, you know we're crooks? You're right, we are. You're not going to beat us. We're taking your tax money and arming to the teeth against you and surveilling. And we're going to stage events and blame it on foreign enemies. You got that? That's what they're doing. And if you want America to turn around, you got to wake up to that. I mean, earlier, it tears my guts out all over the country. They go to mainly old folks' houses who've got, 3-4-inch grass and give them giant fines. And I just think about how all these crooks in government can steal trillions of dollars, ship cocaine into the country, weapons out of the country, opium into the country, all publicly, every crime under the sun you can imagine. But then it's all about lecturing the general public how we're criminals and how we can't trust anybody but Big Brother and Big Sis and telescreens everywhere. And coming up, I guess, on Wednesday, at the start of the third hour, 2 o'clock Eastern, 1 o'clock Central, they're going to do an EAS alert takeover drill. So I guess on our AM and FM stations, doesn't matter. They're not going to just do some drill for a test of the takeover. They're going to take over and have some announcement for you. Again, they've always had these with the station getting the tone and going over to it themselves. You're not trusted. See, 50 years ago, 20 years ago, 10 years ago, 5 years ago, Americans could be trusted by the loving military-industrial complex to when you got the EAS system and it told you to broadcast it over air. It would give you a warning a few minutes before, sometimes an hour before, several warnings leading up to it, and then you would dial over at that time, and the feds would practice the takeover of your station. But now they're saying, we're removing you, good little slave. We've just done all this dog training to make sure that when we tell you, you do the test and our computer registers that. Now we don't need you, little man. And they're announcing publicly what they told broadcaster associations 16 years ago. Oh, I talked to folks in the Texas Association of Broadcasters. I talked to station owners. I talked to engineers. I talked to an engineer who was the head of the Engineer Society here in the state. And they were told in meetings, because it's for America, you understand, that what do you think about, because the government wants to do this, we're going to break in every day with announcements, just public service announcements. We'll have allotted blocks where you don't have to play those anymore. We'll play them for you, and we'll do some live programming, and then sometimes we'll just take over. That'll be part of your license. But see, they weren't ready yet. They hadn't staged 9/11 yet. And see, now, notice it never goes away. The new restrictions always only get worse. It never goes away. Always more. And it's all about you and your family being good little slaves. Let's go ahead and take a phone call here. Let's go ahead and talk to Tim in Washington. Thanks for holding.
Hello.
Hey, buddy. Welcome.
How's it going?
Good.
Hey, I was wondering, what's the relationship between Fidelity Investments and the Federal Reserve? I've got some other questions as well.
When we talk about the 6 big mega banks, they all then have major investments. They're the shareholders of the Federal Reserve. But they've got other business deals and agreements with other combines that are heavily owned by insurance companies, themselves owned by the Federal Reserve shareholders. So it's all interlocking directorates, and Fidelity is heavily involved, from my research and other researchers we've had on, in the Federal Reserve.
Right. So in a sense, the Occupy Wall Street people should be investigating who they should be occupying. Just walk right down to Fidelity Investments on 6th and Pine in downtown Seattle, Washington, and show them what's up. Because ultimately, that's the head of the snake, I would assume. You know, if Fidelity Investments gets occupied, then eventually people start taking these occupiers seriously. Because right now, the Occupy Seattle people are in the bar district. They've been taken out of the financial market area without actually having any success. Yeah, that's basically my point. Thank you.
Thank you, my friend. Yeah, I'm trying to pull it up right now, but we talked about this last year. We talked about it earlier this year. We talked about it just a few months ago, saying that the different embassies are moving out of dollars and stockpiling a spectrum of currencies. But now they've got this movement to pull your money out. And they reported that millions of dollars total in Austin last week alone, the paper reported, got pulled out of one of the big mega banks, $400,000. And November 5th was the first day, but now they've got one coming up later in the month to pull your money out of the big mega bank. And strangely enough, they've actually picked the right banks. Bank of America, Goldman Sachs. I know it's an investment bank, but it has some places where people have got money. They're pulling their investments out of that. J.P. Morgan Chase, Wells Fargo, Citibank. But later in the month, I think I forget the date. Normally I'd know it, but camping out with the kids, I didn't get much sleep either night. One of them was sick one night, the other had a toothache the next night. So I didn't get any sleep Friday. Didn't get any sleep Saturday. Didn't get any sleep Thursday, Friday, or Saturday. I got 10 hours last night. And I don't feel bad. It's just my memory isn't there. I'm like reaching for info, and it's like, not there, not there. But, and I guess there's no rest for the wicked, as they say, because I'm going to be on Coast to Coast AM tonight with George Norrie for 3 hours. So... all right, let's go back to your phone calls here. Very interesting point by that caller. I'm glad he called in. Yeah, again, it's not that I'm against the Occupy Wall Street people. There are a lot of good people involved in it. It's that the people that get the media attention from the demonstrators are calling for higher taxes on the middle class. And that is not going to get the economy going. Let's go ahead. I'm even wary of a financial tax on stock market transactions or financial institutions because you know by the time they actually pass it, it's going to be on the general public. You know that, I mean, that's how this always ends. I mean, I was told by really smart people 16 years ago because I had a guy on the air promoting the fair tax, the 25% flat, no other federal taxes. And I had a lot of people contact me and say, Alex, the plan has always been, and they showed me evidence, to get everybody sick of the income tax and then bring in a national sales tax and a VAT and just keep the income tax. And now that's what Herman Cain's saying do. And so I've just learned all their tricks. I've learned, you know, they say they're going to give you one thing, they give you another. And the only reason we're even reaching so many people is because of you. I just want to thank all of you. When I'm not on air, I think about how thankful I am to all. I saw an article out of Iowa about the big speeches that were given this weekend at a candidate forum. Rick Perry, Ron Paul were there. And it said the first woman to get in the door at 6 o'clock, an hour before it kicked off, was reading her Bible. So she was a young lady reading her Bible, and she had an Infowars.com black bracelet around her arm, around her wrist. And that, in fact, I think I even tried to send that article to Jaron. I don't know. I'm sure he put it in my stack. I don't see it, though. Maybe I didn't send it. It doesn't matter anymore. The point is is that she said, I just wanted to see Ron Paul for myself, and I appreciate him because he's been steadfast and has never wavered in his positions, and I just wanted to see him in person. And she said some other nice things, but the fact is that she's out there and she cares about this country. And I'm going to be honest, I don't feel worthy to be so prominent and to have so many of you looking up to me and so many children that send me postcards and that tell me thank you for what I do. And children that send me little drawings and kids that send me a book and ask me to sign it. It just touches my heart. And then I get so angry at myself. Like, I'm going to apologize on air, and I've probably done this 5-6 times over the years. But I've got to stop it, and I've got to learn more self-control. I'd only been broadcasting for about 10 hours when it happened. And I wasn't even really broadcasting. It was internet, so it wasn't an issue for AM and FM stations. Because if it was, they would have delayed it. You know, the network's sitting there by the button the whole time anyways. But when I learned that Jesse Ventura had his case thrown out, I called Janet Napolitano a sack of you-know-what. Because he'd called me while Alfred Adask was talking, and I took the call and let Alfred run for a while and told me what had happened to him. And he was very upset. And I just thought of the Janet Napolitano, the thugs, the end of the Fourth Amendment, the domestic checkpoints. And I just didn't have words to describe, and I was mad, and I went on air and used the SHIT word. Not that it's that big a deal for adults, but I know even at 11 o'clock at night, children were probably listening. You know, I know. For some reason, my son was still up when that happened and heard it. And it's just not good. I know I've got a big responsibility, and I'm going to step up to the plate. But pray for me. I'm weak, and I get angry.
Hey everybody, Jason Lewis here once again. These are hard times for investors. If you're like me, you just don't know where to put your money because there's a downside to every possible scenario. Now look, every portfolio needs a hedge for inflation. Gold has been the classic. I want to be honest with you, commodities fluctuate. So you could lose money. Gold goes up and down. But every stable portfolio usually has an inflation hedge, and gold is, well, the gold standard. Washington is not going to get us out of this recovery, so you've got to protect yourself. Give it some thought, and if you're interested in converting your IRA to gold or would like to actually have it in your possession, call Midas Resources today at 1-800-686-2237. The U.S. dollar was once backed by gold, but it's lost a lot of its value since then. Call Midas Resources today, 1-800-686-2237 for gold. That's 1-800-686-2237, and tell them Jason Lewis sent you.
If you're a man over 40, you may feel like half the man you used to be. Are you gaining more body fat? Are you feeling tired? Are you losing your sex drive? It's not your fault. After 40, your body's testosterone may start dropping. And if you're an African American man, you're at a higher risk of your testosterone turning into estrogen. Be the man you used to be. Call for a risk-free trial of Ageless Male, a natural supplement shown to raise testosterone by 61% and maintain healthy, normal levels. You can feel the youthful energy and the healthy sex drive you once had. And Ageless Male is all natural. No injections or appointments. Just one quick phone call. Get your risk-free trial of Ageless Male.
Call 1-800-497-8345. That's 1-800-497-8345. With Ageless Male, you can raise your testosterone naturally by 61%. Call 1-800-497-8345. That's 1-800-497-8345.
Hello, I'm Alex Jones. Myself, my family.